My dear students, I welcome all of you for today's session on system modeling and simulation. And today's session is on verification of simulation models. In previous session, we had a discussion about what actually verification and what actually validation is. We have seen, we had a discussion about difference between verification and validation. Okay, and we had even a discussion about something known as calibration. Clear? So in previous session I said there are 3 steps involved one in model building. So the first step is that observing real system. Why to observe real system? To see the interaction among various components of real system. Okay, then observe data and collect data from the system behavior. Okay, also I said in this space, okay, you can extract knowledge from persons, okay, who are working with the real system. Those persons I said operators, technicians, repair persons, maintenance personnel, engineers, supervisors, managers. So they are having a sufficient knowledge, so you can extract knowledge from them about the real system. So once you have the knowledge, you have the data about real system behavior, what I said, the second step is to construct a conceptual model. Got it? So once you have constructed a conceptual model, the next step, what I said, you need to implement, you need to translate the conceptual model into operation model. Okay, so where what actual verification and validation this? See, verification is investigating whether the conceptual model is syncing with the real system behavior. Got it? And verification will check whether the conceptual model, what has been constructed, okay, whether the output behavior of conceptual model will sync with the output behavior of real system. In validation model, what we'll do, we are investigating the behavior of conceptual model and operational model. Now, in this session, I mean, in previous session, we had a just brief introduction to verification and validation. Okay, I have 2 separate sessions for this verification and validation. In this session, we will see in detail about verification of simulation models. I will explain you about the verification through some real-time examples. So you will come to know you will have a thorough knowledge about what actually verification. Okay. Now, let me have a look at the agenda of this session. So at first, I will tell you what is the purpose of verification of simulation models. Okay, but I think you're clear, right? Verification is nothing but checking, okay, investigating conceptual model with real system. We'll see that. Then next, I'll tell you what are the classes of techniques for verification. Okay, classes of techniques for verification. There are 3 classes of techniques. We'll see them. Those 3 classes of techniques are nothing but common sense suggestions. The other one is a thorough documentation. And the last one is use of trace. Okay, we'll learn in detail about this. 3 classes of techniques for verification: common sense, documentation, and trace. Okay. So what I was shown one more agenda: model output. Okay. Why I shown bit model output is now through common sense. Okay. I'll because I want to verify whether my conceptual model is reflecting a real system. Okay. So I need to observe the output that is being generated by the conceptual model. I need to check whether those output are reasonable. This we will see, okay, in model output. Clear? So now I repeat, in this session, first I'll discuss about the purpose of verification. Next, we'll see the classes of techniques for verification. Okay, there are 3 classes: common sense, suggestions, documentation, and trace. Next, model output. In model output, I will justify you. Okay, you will be justified how the conceptual model will be verified, okay, with the real system. Okay, I mean in this space, the output of the conceptual model will be compared with the output behavior of real system. Okay, now we'll have a look. So purpose. The purpose of model verification. The purpose of model verification is to ensure that the conceptual model is reflected accurately in the operation model. Okay, I mean, let me tell you. Yeah, don't get confused. Okay, now I have the conceptual model. Later, what I'll do, I will translate it into computer representation. Once I have the conceptual model, the next phase is that I need to translate it into operation model, right? So now in verification, I should assure that conceptual model in verification phase, I should assure conceptual model is reflected accurately in the operational model. Got it? The conceptual model involves some degree of abstractions about system operations. Means in conceptual model, there is some abstractions about system operations. Means assumptions. What I said in conceptual model, I will have some assumptions about real system, right? So in conceptual model involves some abstractions about system operations and some amount of simplifications of actual operations. Okay. Now, verification, I repeat, verification means confirming, assuring conceptual model actually represented by the operation model. Okay. Conceptual model is actually represented by operation model. So now, I said there are 3 classes of techniques for verification, right? What are those? Common sense techniques, common sense suggestions, thorough documentation, trace. Now, how to verify? Okay. Now verification phase. Okay. No, there's some common sense suggestions. The first we'll have a look at some common sense suggestions. Okay, it means through common sense you can get justified yourself about your model. Okay. Now, so first common sense, what it says, see, the model is developed by model developer. According to model developer, since he has developed the model, right? If I have developed a model, assume I'm the model developer and I have developed a model. So what I'll say, my model is always perfect. I will say my model is always perfect. But apart from me, some other third person should say the model is perfect. Got it? So what the model developer himself should not verify the model. We should make someone else, say expert in simulation software. Those who are expert in simulation software should be made to check the model. Got it? Common sense means the model developer himself should not state his model to be a verified one. This model should be made to be checked by someone else, say an expert in simulation language, simulation software. Got it? That is, if an expert says this model is verified, we can go for the model. So next, again, see, it says that make a flow diagram that includes each logically possible action a system can take when an event occurs. I will tell you, for example, consider a banking system, okay? I said about two events in previous sessions, okay? I think in module 1 about arrival event and departure event, okay? So I said, right, an event is something that causes state of the system to change. I repeat, an event is something that causes state of the system to change. So for the state of the system to get changed, there are some actions are going to take place. See, when an event occurs, state of the system changes. State of the system changes because some actions have been taken place. So what are those actions that have been taken place? I need to represent in the form of a flow chart. Getting my point? So whenever an event occurs, okay, and that event may cause some actions, some flow to appear, to be some instructions to be performed, and that causes state of the system to change. So for that occurrence of the event, we need to have a flow chart. For example, let me tell you. So it's very simple. Now assume an arrival event. A new customer arrives to the bank. Okay, a new customer arrives to the bank. So now what happens when a new customer arrives? Okay, first thing, can he be served? Can he be offered service immediately? Question arises. A new customer arrives to the bank. Now question arises that can he be offered service immediately? There are two cases. Yes, no. See, a new customer arrived can be offered service immediately if there are no customers at present in the bank. I mean, teller is idle. So teller, that means the cashier who is an idle. Okay. So he is an idle means no customers at present in the bank. Got it? So a new customer can be offered service immediately. Suppose if there are at least one customer in the queue, at least one customer in the queue, and a new customer arrives, what happens? A new customer should follow the queue. Got it? So these are the actions that are going to take place when an arrival event occurs. And these actions, I need to represent the form of flow diagram. Got it? I repeat, when a new customer arrives to the bank, okay, when a new customer arrives to the bank, status of the server, status of the teller, status of the cashier need to be checked. If he is idle, means no customers in the bank at present. So no customers in the bank at present means a new arrived customer can be offered service immediately. Clear? The other case is that if the teller is busy, means at least one customer in the bank. So new customer should follow what? Queue. Got it? So second step says that make a flow diagram for all possible events. Got it? So common sense suggestions. First step, what I said, I need to make some expert and simulation software should check the model developed. Second case, what I said, second case, we need to construct a flow diagram for all possible events that may occur. Next, closely examine, this is very important, closely examine the model output, okay, for reasonableness under a variety of settings of the input parameters. I mean, your model is developed, your model is run, it is going to give some output, right? So now what the output that is generated by model should be observed carefully, so that to check whether this model's output will match with the real system's output. If the model's output match with the real system's output, what I can say, the model is reasonable. Got it? So next, sometimes what happens, the model output might be reasonable. Okay. See, now in some cases, what I need to do now, that says print the input parameters at the end of the simulation. Make sure they have not been changed inadvertently. So for a given input, you're going to get some output. So you think, hey, output is correct one. It means model is correct. So, but you should not come to conclusion that model is correct. Some cases, okay, within your program, within your simulation program, okay, the input might have changed. The input, you are given some input, the input might have changed. And the change in input might result in some other output, right? So I need to be clarified what output is being generated is for the input what I have given. Clear? What the output that has been generated by the model is for the actual input what I have been given. So what I need to do, I need to make my simulation software, I need to program okay, such a way that should not only produce an output, should also produce the given input. Got it? So later I can vary, oh, this is the correct input what I have given. So for this particular input, this is the output. Clear? Next, okay. I have the operational model. What actually operational model? Computerized representation. Okay. Computerized representation, what we need to make as self-documenting as possible. Got it? It should document itself. In that program documentation, I mean, we'll write comment in program, right? We'll make use of comment to state what that particular operation does. Clear? Also in algorithm, we'll make use of some comments to show what the objective of that problem means. The program itself should also be documented. Got it? The computerized representation should be documented. Okay, we need to make use of comments, everything at the critical sections of the program, so that when a model developer need to reuse the program, documentation helps in building the model faster. Clear? So we need to make computerized representation as self-documentation. Sometimes I may animate the model, maybe like a simulation. What the model may feel like animation. It's like animated one. Okay. So in the animation, everyone knows about animation, like games and all, right? So animation imitates the real system. When you animate the system, you check that animation imitates the real system. Okay. Next, okay, you monitor the simulation via IRC debugger. You know what is debugging? The process of correcting errors is known as debugging. Debugging is to correct any errors, right? So I have modeled, I have implemented operational model, right? For the conceptual model. Now, while implementation, okay, I need to check for any errors. There are some interactive run controller. It's a debugger. Debugger, it just checks for any errors. Okay, so you can make use of debugger to check step by step. Okay, and using debugger, what you can do while step by step executing, what were the earlier values in the variable and what the new values that will copy to variables. You can have a look everything. Got it? So next, you can use graphical interfaces. You can make use of graphical interface as a form of self-documentation. Clear with this? So these are some common sense suggestions for verification. Okay. So now this is very important. Model output for reasonableness. Okay, I mean, we have developed a model. A model is giving some output. We have developed a model. Our model is giving some output. If the model's output matches the output behavior of the real system, I can say the model developed is reasonable. I can go with the model. Clear? See, I can go with the model, right? So there are, clear with this, if the model's output syncs with the real system's output behavior, then model is reasonable. We can go with model. Okay, for this, I'll give you one example. Okay, banking system. I mean, in bank there'll be queue, right? In general, queuing problem I think. Okay, so now let me tell you, in a bank, okay, the main output performance, okay, the main output parameter will concerned with a response time. The main output is we are concerned with response time. Okay, apart from response time, okay, I mean response time means how fast each customer will be serviced. Response time is how fast each customer will be offered a service. And apart from response time, we may need to have some other statistics also. I mean, how long an average, how long on an average each customer should wait in a queue. Got it? I mean to say, I need to determine how long on an average each customers may need to wait in a queue. Apart from this, I may need to determine even server utilization. Okay, got it. So I may, depending on the context, okay, I may concerned with any number of output parameters. Got it. So to study this output parameters, got it, I may need to make use of two statistics, what we call current contents and total counts. Current contents and total counts. So I mean, using current contents and total counts, I will tell you, I will be able to investigate how efficient is the bank. Okay, using current contents and total counts, we can investigate how efficient, okay, how efficient is the model developed. Okay, now let me tell you what actually current content and what actually total count. Okay, first, okay, listen here. So current contents means number of items in each component of the system at a given time. I tell you, in a bank, for example, at a particular point of time, number of customers. See here, got it. Current contents means within a system there may be any number of components. For each of the components, number of items within that at a particular point of time. Okay. For example, let me tell you, the number of customers in a bank at a particular point of time is current content. Total count refers to total number of items that have entered each component of the system at a given time. Means total counts, listen, total count, listen, don't get confused. Current count with respect to bank, what I said, at a particular point of time, how many customers in the bank. Current contents, see, listen, current contents gives number of customers in a bank at a particular point of time. Whereas total counts represents number of customers who were in the bank up to that particular point of time. Okay, starting from 9:30, suppose bank opens till 11:30, how many customers were there in the bank? That is total counts. I repeat, see, starting from the bank opening time 9:30 to 11, how many customers were there in the bank? That is total counts up to time 11 o'clock. Whereas current contents at 11 means number of customers in the bank at 11. Clear? So now, with this, okay, now what actually, how I can judge the effectiveness of the model through this current count and total count? I mean to say through current contents and total counts, through current contents and total count, I can check for errors in the model. Means through these two statistics, current contents and total counts, I can check is there any errors in the model. Got it? So how to check? Okay. For example, let me tell you. Okay. See here, I mean to say, if the current contents in some portion of the system are I, if the current contents are I, it means what? Number of customers are very huge, means what happens? Means large number of entities are delayed. Larger the number of customers, larger the waiting time. Clear? Clear with this? Larger the number of customers, larger the waiting time. Or this also indicates that since the length of the queue got increased, means of course the waiting time is more. Means current content, okay, current content, that is the length of the queue is very large, means what? It means length waiting time is more, and also it implies there may be very less servers. Because of less servers, less employees who are offering service, the queue length got increased. Got it? This is a measurement of the output. On the other hand, okay, I told about with respect to current contents, right? Current contents. Length of the queues I means waiting with length of the queue I can say waiting time is long and maybe servers may be very less. On the other hand, if the total count for the subsystem is 0, total count is 0 from 9 a.m. to 11, it means what? No items enter the system. None of the customers enter the bank. Got it? So this may not happen. Okay, I can suspect some error in the model. Means in the model's output. Okay, if the total count the output total count is found to be 0, there is some suspect about errors because from 9:30 to 11 I can't say none of the customers might enter the bank. So this is how I can predict any error. Sometime, okay, if both current count and total count equal to 1, let me say at 11:30 current count and total count is equal to 1, means what it indicates means the customer there's means only one customer in the bank from 9:30 to 11:30, or at 11:30 also only one customer, means it means that he is offering a service for the very long time. It may not be possible. Service should complete immediately. For a very long time is being offered service, means it's impractical. Got it? So not a withdrawal or a deposit transaction takes an hour. So I mean, there is somewhere bottleneck has occurred. It's a suspect there's an error in the model. So this is about how we can check for the reasonableness of model. Okay, through current contents and total counts. The same I've explained in this model. Now, I said about there are two more verifications: documentation and trace. So documentation means what I said in program. I'll make use of comments. You write, right what this particular operation does. It will be followed with a comment. So what's an advantage of that? Okay, if a model builder, okay, the model developer writes brief comments in the operational model, means in the computerized representation using simulation software, it implements an operational model, right? And if he writes a brief comments about each step, okay, it will be useful for the model developer who uses his code. Also, not only commenting, if for all the variables, whatever the variables he may use in his program, okay, let state what all those variables are. Okay, in his program he might be using any number of variables. Let him state what all those variables are, and any default values for those variables, let it be specified explicitly. Okay, clear? So similarly, you might use some constants. Let it specify what those constants are and what default values. Got it? So documentation means in a model. So if I give to some expert, okay, he can verify through documentation whether that the program is correct, operation model is correct. Okay, so here we need to the model developer may specify some comments. It may specify definition of variables and constants. Meantime, it can if it includes sub functions, what all those functions are, it need to be documented. So what I can say in general, documentation is important. Documentation is treated as, okay, it's nothing but is for clarifying the logic of a model and verify its completeness. So documentation helps in clarifying the logic of a model. Documentation helps in clarifying logic of a model and verifying its completeness. So then there's a trace. I think you know about trace, right? I think in your C programming, okay, whether like a Euclidean algorithm to compute GCD. Got it? Uh, your teachers might taught you about tracing the program for a particular input. Means iterations, 5 iterations may happen. In each of the 5 iterations, what are how the variables are going to change. Got it? So that is we call a trace. Okay. So similarly here, a trace, what I can say, it's a detailed computer printout. I'll show you through next slide. Okay, I'll justify. See, this is just one example for trace of one simulated model. Okay, so here see here in this diagram. Okay, the first column, that is clock equals 0, clock equal to 3, clock equal to 5, clock equal to 11, clock equal to 12, clock equal to 16. Each row, there is some each row, right? Each of these rows represents, okay, status of variables at that particular point of time. I mean, what I said, Euclidean algorithm for GCD, for each iteration, that is when, say for example, 0th iteration, 1th iteration, 2nd iteration, we'll look at values of num1, input number 1, input number 2, remainder. In GCD 2 inputs, right? And we are going to use one variable remainder. In each iteration, how those values will change, how those variables will change, that need to be observed. So here, see, clock equal to 0, some event occurs. That event, what happens? It changes system state variables. So your state variables are EVTYP, NCUST, STATUSS, TUS, status. Okay. So whenever an event occurs, okay, state variable value will change. Here EVTYP means event type, and CUST means number of customers, status of server. Event type, number of customers, status of server. So these are the three state variables. So at 0, 1 event occurs, what are the values that have been reflected in this variables? Clock at 3, one more event occurs, changes. Similarly, at clock at time 16, a new event occurred, and that causes state variables to get changed. So this is tracing. I need to track the state variable contents at each event occurs. This is we call trace. Through this, we can check any errors. This is about current session. Thank you for listening.